Kanye failed, guys. Kanye's antics, his crash outs, they were all for one specific purpose: to create attention, to get his album to sell. That's probably why he's doing all of this. All of that has miserably failed. All of these crash outs that he was doing, every single thing that he was doing has a purpose: to create PR, a publicity stunt. All of it has failed because Kanye West has Donda 2, his album officially only sells 5.9k units first week and projected to sell 21,000 units within a full week. His plan has failed. A lot of people have basically neglected him. They've left him after all of the rudeness and how much offense he's caused so many demographics. The reason why he was discussing so much insane stuff in regards to SA as a minor, or when it comes to Cassie and Diddy, or when it comes to offensive signs, all of this was to garner attention. All of this was to garner some kind of conversations that people could keep speaking about Kanye West and basically, search for him, buy his music, his name would be everywhere. That plan has failed. That was his plan. And after now seeing the fact that his units are not being moved, I think Kanye West is probably going to be moving differently. Nobody's checking for his new music anymore. Of course, he's a legendary, music producer. I don't denounce his historical talent, but his future projects is what I'm discussing here, and all of that is something that people just aren't checking for in any way, shape or form. What I'm saying basically to open this video up with is that this is a big wake-up call for Kanye West, to make him realize that all of the stuff that he's doing, all these antics, all of this, I'm gonna try and get my kids back and grab them back as if this is the color purple for him, and all of his life he's been trying to fight. It ain't working. It's done nothing for you. You've moved barely any units. 5.9k in 1 week. Not even 6,000. And you're Kanye West. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Hey guys, it's Murad Morali. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Daily and consistent content. Subscribe to the channel. It's just one click. Let's get to 400,000 period. Murad Nation, daily and consistent. And let's get straight into this video. So there are going to be some jury issues when it comes to the 5th of May, when everything begins for Diddy. And this trial. For example, the prosecution guys might attempt to remove from a pool any prospective juror who seems to idolize Diddy or has remained loyal to him. Ultimately, they may also attempt to remove a potential juror who displays negativity towards the alleged victim. Prosecutors and defense will both try to fill the jury box with individuals they believe are inclined to see the case in their favor. The voir dire process involves two types of dismissals: so-called for cause dismissals and peremptory strikes. The judge determines those excused for cause, whilst attorneys for both sides are allowed a certain number of strikes which are used in a strategic manner. This is part of a game that we will see play out, says court experts, because the trial is expected to last several weeks. Once the jury is seated, the judge will instruct the jury to avoid media coverage of the case for the duration of the trial to help ensure the jury's verdict is based on testimonies and exhibits. However, this instruction is going to be very difficult, simply because of the age of social media and TikTok, a challenge for the defense because the coverage of the case has been so overwhelmingly and also negative towards Diddy. Therefore, the courts, are they really equipped for a trial as big as this? And I feel like, Diddy isn't the biggest person. We've had Johnny Depp in his trial a couple of years ago. We've had OJ. There's many people where there've been huge, high-profile trials. But, it is a good point. The jury, how are you going to make sure that they're going to be objective? How are you going to know that they're not going to be anti-Diddy or for Diddy? This is a bigger obstacle for the defense because the majority of the publicity has been very negative. I don't think that anybody who's going to be part of the jury is not going to know who Diddy is. If we're talking about the young generations, Gen Z and whatever, cool, they might not know. But I feel like older generations will definitely know who Diddy is to an extent, or might have heard about this in the news. Because how can you find somebody from the jury who isn't turning on cable news at best and doesn't see a blip of what Diddy's been told? They could probably forget about it and have no idea or memory. But I do feel like the jury will have an understanding or some kind of external bias, which I think is going to be very hard to eliminate. And so this is a big hurdle this is why for this week coming up, the jury selection is going to be so interesting. The analysis of who's going to be picked, how this is going to be happening from the 5th of May onwards is just going to be so interesting because all of it is going to be strategic. The defense want people who are objective or who are going to have a bias towards Diddy and be a fan to him. Obviously, how they're going to pattern that, I don't know, guys. Now back to Ricardo Tisci, I believe his name is, who is of the ex director of Burberry. He obviously was somebody who was facing his own SA lawsuit, who's been very close to many celebrities. Well, there are pictures of him with Kim Kardashian and Naomi Campbell, and of course Cassie, and you can see even Kate Moss passed out. And there are multiple pictures of him with Kanye West, even with Diddy, and even with Justin Bieber, guys. So to be honest with you, the whole circle of this is really insane. That birds of a feather basically flock together. Diddy's accused of basically giving people drugs and they're passing out and doing things, and Ricardo now has been accused of the same stuff with other men or young boys. And so it's not frowned upon me that, you know, Ricardo has been around Bieber. He probably has done or had his way with Bieber in some kind of way, shape or form. It's going to be interesting now to see how the Kardashians are going to sway themselves away from Ricardo Tisci, just like they've had to sway themselves away from Diddy and also now away from Kanye West. It always seems like they come out unscathed from the people that they are associated to. And I just feel like if we look at somebody like Jay-Z, and we're like, well, you know, he's close with R. Kelly at a point. He was close with Diddy at a point. How can that man be innocent? The same rule applies to the Kardashians. I'm so sorry. They're so close to all of these people. And one other person is Naomi, who's always at the scene of the crime. Why Auntie is always there at the scene of the crime, I don't understand. That's all I'm saying. I just feel like she's always around these people. And I just find it to be odd. Even Kate in this picture passed out is odd. But Ricardo Tisci, of course, there are more eyes on him because of this case. But he also basically is part of the circle, part of these connections, affiliations, relationships with people who seem to have done or been accused of the same stuff. And so we're going to see now if there are going to be more men coming out about Ricardo. And I believe there definitely will be as time goes on. Even in this picture, you see Cassie. And I feel like the defense are going to use all of these images, all of these conversations about Cassie, basically in these group photos with Diddy, and basically play on the word of coercion and say, well, how can I be doing X, Y, Z against Cassie when she's willingly hanging around with me, being a participant in all of these groups, in all of these friendship circles, and all of these parties? She was there to be seen. So the only thing that Cassie really has as of right now is that video, which is such a strength to her testimony because she basically is being dragged left, right, or center. But Diddy's team can use all of this stuff to their defense. I don't think it will work that much, but I think that's what they're going to play on mainly, race and coercion. Basically saying that I wasn't coercing this person. They're my ex. They wanted to be there. They wanted to have that fun. Yeah, we went a little bit too far, but that doesn't make me the devil. Something like that is what his lawyers are prepared to say. I'm just shocked that Mark Agnifilo is the number one person going to be leading this case. I thought it would have been Mark Garagos or at least Brian Steele, because I don't think Mark Agnifilo has what it takes. I don't think he has the je ne sais quoi, the charisma, the sternness, because when he was giving TMZ interviews way back then, talking about Diddy's baby oil and Costco and all that stuff, he just didn't seem that confident speaking to the camera. He honestly did not. He just seemed a bit shaky. Like, I need somebody more stern, like Douglas Wigdor, Brian Steele, or Joe Tacopina. I need that kind of level-headed individual, not somebody like Mark Agnifilo, who looks like your uncle. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I'm not buying it. But I think this Ricardo Tisci stuff is interesting, and I think that these pictures that are resurfacing and people are discussing right now, I wanted to discuss and add to the video because I think that this whole circle of conversation is just expanding and more people are being exposed slowly by surely. This Diddy stuff has given loads of alleged victims the confidence to come out with their own cases against separate other people. I wouldn't be surprised if there were cases coming out against some of these women in these pictures in time. After the Diddy trial, once he gets sentenced, a lot more people will have confidence to come up and wake up these celebrities for what they've been accused of doing. I'm telling you that now. What I also want to get into to end the video, guys, is where the hell is Busby? Can somebody tell me where that man is gone? I feel like Busby is hiding in these bushes somewhere. He has disappeared. The 1-800 conferences that he used to have, all of the civil lawsuits of where he was repping all of these people. We were reading out new lawsuits every single week that Busby man was repping for Diddy, repping against Diddy, sorry, for these alleged victims. Why isn't he repping even more? Why has he stopped repping more? I don't understand. I don't know where he's gone. He shifted targets towards Shannon Sharp. But babes, we have not forgotten about the Diddy stuff. You're still meant to be holding these alleged cases. You might have transferred it to a lawyer. But I don't know if anybody's a fan of Busby here, but he's lost credibility in my eyes. The way that man has disappeared and vanished, I don't understand why. Can somebody tell me where this man has gone? Because I would really like to know. Where have you gone, bro? Where have you gone? Where are you? Come out. Am I not going to get more SA lawsuits for you to represent? Because I don't understand. Let me know your thoughts, guys, when it comes to this video. Do subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. It's just one click. Let's get to 400,000. We are so close, guys. Murad Nation, we are so close. Send a tip if you guys wish to. There's a $sign there, and it goes a long way. I get notified for each person who sends. I will always see your name, and I'm always very appreciative when I do see it. I get notified on my phone. Do subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. Comment down below. I want to know your thoughts. We got into a lot in this video that I didn't even expect to film right now, but I just had a double espresso. So, you know, I've got all the energy in the world. God is good. And I'll catch you guys soon for another video.